you want to save money on your trading card purchases, we have a promo link over at 50cards.shop. Enter the promo code ATNIGHT to get 5% off your order.
100.
Welcome back, everybody, to Atlas and Root Beer's part 2 of our BCS Premium Day 2 report, and that is not Root Beer. That is Takanachi. You can hear him in range, though. So, going into my list here, I brought Great Nature because this is Atlas we're talking about. Nah, for real. The reason being is that, like, I have Messiahs. I probably should have brought those, but the reason I took this was, like, they banned the loop for Bermuda Triangle, the mill loop, but they hadn't gone into effect yet, so I was going to phone it in, because I thought Millista was going to be a problem. What turned out to be a problem was the rest of Bermuda Triangle. So, looking at my list here, this isn't, like, shut up. This isn't really all that different. Like, it's mostly the same as the Big Belly list I posted a few months ago. You still got your Big Belly. I'm not running the history collection stride. You have all these tools. I'm running the ride fixer just for consistency's sake. There's Crayon Tiger. Spool Mary does a lot of the heavy lifting on, like, beat sticking. I have Candelaria as a form of both just warm bodies and for dealing with Narukami, because you can blow up and make tokens at end phase, and then put them in the front and kind of, like, blunt their Exterminate Dragon. More on that later. And then that also combos with Mike Saburo. Because she retires herself in end phase, you can then get a grade 3 search off that. Label Pangolin was there for countercharging and dealing with the soul problem to kind of set up Culture Gorilla. This went off exactly once during the entire day. I took it out after the tournament because I don't think it's especially consistent. But yeah, the rest of it isn't really, like, all that crazy. Forbidal Surrogate is amazing because you can search this with Mike and then use it to just make a board for yourself later. Almost all of my strides the entire day, I did not go into Bala Earl once the entire day. It was all parrot into dead, or I died. Like, that was literally it the entire day. Let's see. This you use as your flip fodder, so you can call stuff from hand. I do that combo a lot. So you can call stuff mid-battle phase for multi-attacking, and it tends to catch people by surprise, because it's a G-zone effect. And people are like, oh, how did you do that? I'm like, go to the G-zone. Like, you don't have to tell them that ability until it's happening. So, yeah, not really all that special. Sleeve Tugging Bell again for the Narukami matchup, just to turn it off. I think if you're running any Stoikea deck, you got to run that as a one-of, just because it's such a problem. But going by the tournament report here, so round 1 I went against Revenger. Now, the guy had the perfect field for a Raging Form turn, because he had like all 5 circles full up, along with the one that when it dies it calls a Revenger from deck, so you can double re-ride with the Raging Form. The problem was that he didn't have another Raging Form to ride. So the guy, I'm pretty sure what he planned to do, because he goes into Chain Rancor, and he was hoping to get it on the drive check, right? Yeah. That's the kicker, right? You get one, at the very least, if you are able to ride it. The first one, maybe on the second twin drive, you get like another copy, and then you can go, like, keep going from there. But no, poor guy got shafted, had a weak turn, and then I just killed him with a parrot, like you're supposed to. Round 2 was against, so I won that. Round 2 was against Harry. I know Harry pretty well. I've played Pale Moon longer than I've played Great Nature, actually. The reason I got into Great Nature was because I was looking for Pale Moon stuff. So there's this G-Guard for Pale Moon that's like a dog, that when you G-Guard with it, you can put any number of cards from hand into soul. It gets 10k shield for each thing you put. If you put 2 or more, the opponent has to pick a standing rear guard and put it into soul. So that's like one form of Denial Griffin the clan has. The other one is Tricky Assistant, which I saw go to damage. So I knew that wasn't going to be a problem. But I knew the dog was coming, so I put boosters in the back and just didn't boost with them. So I did my parrot turn. He goes for the dog, and I go, okay, I'll put this label pangolin in the soul. And then you could kind of see the gears turning, and he was like, oh no. Because that was his ace in the hole, was to shut off my restand turn. Because you see all the stuff going on in main phase, and he's like, oh, shit. Well, so it didn't really, I just killed him. That's it.
Yeah.
I played around the dog, because I just happened to have knowledge of that thing. If you don't know about Pale Moon, of course you're going to boost, right? Round 3 was against Riviere. Now, at this point, I was starting to think, this is going too well for me. Normally, I lose in the first 2 rounds at every BCS I go to. And I went up against... Like you, yeah. And then I go up against Riviere, and I'm like, oh, this is where I die.
Yeah.
So I happened to go first during this game. And to those who don't know, Riviere has like a ride skip where they go from like 1 to 2 immediately. So if they're behind, then they are able to like keep an even keel with you. And then if they go first, they're on 3 when you're on 1.
Yep.
Which is awful. He didn't happen to have the pieces for it, luckily. So the game was just like as normal. And I had the perfect field for Culture Gorilla. This was the one time I used it that day. And it was going to be a total of 9 attacks, all at above 30k. On my 5th attack, he OTs on 6. So he just shuts off my turn. So I'm like, great, that sucks. And I thought I was going to die then because I like put a lot into that turn, but managed to live it. And then I had enough to do 2 Crayon Tigers with the remaining plant tokens on board, and then just killed him that way. So that went better than I thought it was going to. Now we get into the Funhouse mirror part. So round 4 was against...
Now it's time for the comedy of errors.
And now it's for something completely different. All right, so round 4 was against Flagbird Colony. Now that doesn't sound weird. The weird part was that it's my friend Josh. This Josh is coming to my wedding. He comes to... we go to the same locals. He's one of our patrons, patreon.com/Nexus at night. Subtle. Anyway, we play together a lot, is the point I'm getting at. So, he unfortunately had an awkward hand. Like, his offense wasn't really especially good.
Yeah.
I had damaged his, what's the pink guy that, like, stands something when it's called?
This is Flagbird Colony? I don't know. Was this a standard card?
No, it's a V card. You call it off Gridora, and then it stands the thing on the other side, so you have
I don't fucking know.
5 attacks. Yeah, so he had damaged that, and then he had to call a regular Dark Face off of Gridora. Like, it was just really chunky, And then on top of that, I got a defensive OT on his Gridora turn. So it wasn't looking great for him. And then I go into Parrot. He goes 2 to pass. And my first check is a trigger. I'm like, fuck it. All on Vanguard. And then the next one is a heal. So there's death. I still had like more attacks and stuff, but like it just wasn't. It sucked for him.
That's very unfortunate.
Round 5 was against Narukami. Now this was Tai Sensei Sama. The guy on Vanguardians that yells at everybody. And he also got top 8, sorry, in this with this Narukami. So I feel okay about losing to this. This one was close though. So I went in on the Parrot turn knowing that an impede was coming because I saw him check a heal early in the game. And I was prepared for it by calling a sleeve tugging bell, resetting the bind to 0, and knowing that it can't bulwark me, and 1 impede isn't going to bother me because I can just kill the sleeve tugging bell and be okay. What I wasn't prepared for was two impedes.
It's the second one that gets you.
It's the second one that gets you. So he impedes me, and then that kind of blunts the charge. So he goes into his turn, and goes into exterminate. And I have enough PGs and G guards to deal with his rear guards that are now giant. But I didn't really have enough to cover his Vanguard and his rear guard, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to take Vanguard and hope he doesn't crit. I can deal with a front, I can deal with a draw, I can deal with a heal. Just don't crit me. He crit me.
Of course.
Yeah. That one didn't feel bad though, because like that felt like a roughly even match. I also lost to a guy who got into top 8, so didn't feel too bad.
That's how I felt about my round the day before.
Yeah. Then, round 6, I got paired against Richard. You know, from Nexus Tour, where we came from. Our friend. I have now played 3 people in a row who I talk to regularly, or see regularly. So, again, I've played Richard a gajillion times. I know how Gurgit works. The downside was I misrode. I took 2 big bellies on damage in a row in the early game, and then I had to ride into Flow Panther, which, like, that's not the worst thing in the world, but it shuts off your Spool Mary, shuts off the mouse, shuts off Deli Belly in terms of getting draws. Like, it just sucks. Didn't see a Mike at all. So he strides on me while I'm, like, crippled somewhat. And then I finally rode Big Belly turn 5, but like it just wasn't happening, man. I on his ultimate turn, there's a grade 2 that he runs where if you have 1 card in hand, Axe Counterblast, it gets 10k, and your opponent can only use 1 Sentinel that turn. I did Ardillo to clear my board of tokens and draw 4 more cards. Unfortunately, one of those was Deli Belly, which would have maybe, I'm not sure, gotten me through all of the Ultima stuff. But because you can only use 1 Sentinel that turn, checkmate Jin and Yahtzee, it was over. So, yeah. Even with a bad game, it still wasn't all that bad. Like, that was the second worst game in terms of, like, draws. For me. Round 7 was against Highlander, and Highlander high-rolled my ass. On their first stride turn, they got the red OT and then a crit. Oof. So they have a double attacking 100 million rear guard with a crit. And this was on the, like, Loris thing with the history stride stuff.
Yeah.
I managed to live. I cracked back, but they did that G guard that calls something to their board, so they called Hanali, and then it just shut me off.
Yep, they do that.
Yep. So that turned me off, and then they killed me the next turn. And round 8, I was like already in a bad mood. Like the Richard thing, with having to ride Flow Panther, and now this with Hanali, which, like, have you ever lost to, like, one particular thing and then you're in your head going, like, I'm gonna fucking change my deck up specifically to deal with that one thing. If I ever run into it again, it's not gonna live. I have to, like, prepare for that one single. Did you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, I think, like, your opponent suddenly calling Hanali on you is actually common enough that you should be prepared for it.
Yeah, like, I have to like go back through the, like, Grey Nature's pool and start looking for, like, if there's battle phase retire. Now, granted, the sheep
or look through Grey Nature's pool and see if there's a way for you to copy it.
To copy it? What do you mean? Oh, to call Hanali on their turn? There is, and it's called Almirage.
Obviously, you just steal the strategy.
I guess so. I mean, really, like, I mostly just run this mouse just to have a 10k shield, and they eroded Hanali to now have a 10k shield, so why not, right?
Yeah.
Just stick 2 in there, and then I can use the Almirage better. Round 8 was against Riviere. Like, I had such a meteoric rise and meteoric fall,
Catastrophic fall.
that I was like, I don't care. I kind of just wanted to see how I did, right? So I went up against Riviere again. I'm like, oh, the thing I beat in round 3. I don't know, let's see what happens. Maybe they'll ride up on me. They went first. They did the ride up. So they're on grade 3. I G-assist for grade 2 and miss.
Well,
while they're on grade 3.
Yeah, the game is over.
I conceded right there. I was like, you can have it. Let's play for fun after this. I'm done. So yeah, that was the Big Belly tournament report. I'm extremely proud of how this deck worked, because every time that it's like I played, it did its job, you know. And the times that it didn't, it was mostly out of my control. So I'm proud of my clan. I'm proud that I mostly deck built this correctly, aside from the gorilla. And I don't know. I went into this BCS scared of Millista, and
came out cursing Bermuda Triangle as a whole.
I went in phoning it in, being like, I'm gonna, you know, 0-2 drop from this thing, and then I went 4 up, 4 down, losing to not Millista but the rest of Bermuda Triangle. So, yeah, certainly an interesting day. But yeah, I'll leave the deck log codes in the descriptions of this and the previous video. But if you liked, leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me what you think, and thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.